What is up, guys? It's your man Don. Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about, should men involve themselves in dating in 2022? Let's get right into it. Alright, you guys know how the current dating landscape is. Sometimes a lot of guys aren't getting the best of luck out there. They put themselves out there, but sometimes they don't get back what they want. Especially since, and in this video, I'm specifically talking about young men. I consider young men as from 35 and below. So say 18 to 35, that's what I consider a young man dating. That is not to say that you guys who are over 35 are not young. I'm just saying that for this video, I'm considering young men from that point because that's kind of the era I have the most experience in, and I can kind of give some tips here and there as to why I think the way I think about dating currently. Just to give a little bit of my background when it comes to dating, I mean, I've told you guys in this channel before that I do have a girlfriend currently. One thing I noticed about dating was, obviously, it matters how attractive you are. If you're not the most attractive guy on the block, you're not going to see the most action. That's unfortunate, and that's kind of how it is. Especially when you're dating women who are in their early 20s, because they're trying to look for the best option they can get. There's a saying that goes that there's nothing more valuable than a young woman, and there's nothing more worthless, I guess, than a young man. And that saying holds true specifically in the dating market. So when I was out dating, one thing I noticed, there were a few things that I noticed. At the end of the day, I kind of got sick of even just involving myself in dating. There weren't a lot of women out there that I found worth dating. So in 2022, given how dating is today, with all the narcissism, entitlement, all the because there's this question going around: what do you bring to the table? And that is a legit question. Unfortunately, a lot of people, both male and female alike, don't really bring much to a table. Anyway, I digress. The main thing is, should you date as a young man in 2022? No. That's just being frank, because unless you already have somebody you know for sure is the one for you, it's not worth dating. And I'm going to tell you some things you can do with your time while you're not dating. By the way, when I say not dating, I don't mean not being open to a relationship. I just mean not actively doing the same things a lot of young men today are doing in terms of the dating scene. For example, going to clubs. You really shouldn't be doing that. As a young man, you can go out every now and then if you want to just relax after a hard day's work, or if you want to celebrate a good win or something like that. You can do that, but it's not something you should make a habit of. And another thing I would actually try and discourage you guys from using is dating apps. So that's Tinder, Bumble, Match. I don't really use dating apps anymore because I used it for 1 year. One of the main reasons why I stopped using it was because a lot of women you meet on there come off as so entitled from the app itself, saying that they just list demands on demands on demands as to what they're looking for, what they want, what this guy should be able to do. And it's really, they don't really bring much conversation besides, oh, make me laugh, and that's kind of what they say. I gotta tell you guys, that whole, if any girl on her bio or anything I see, and it says, oh, make me laugh, tell me a joke, or whatever it is, where they're demanding something from the guy, for me, that's an instant turnoff. One of the other reasons why I don't think you should date in 2022 as a young man is because your 20s is the time to really work on yourself, to really build your character. You're not gonna get your 20s again. And when you're young, I don't know if you guys know this, your testosterone starts decreasing in your mid-20s. So once you hit around 26, 27, your testosterone starts decreasing, meaning you're gonna have less energy to go do the things you really want to do. Also, something else that also decreases is your intelligence. It's actually your fluid intelligence, and this is your ability to learn something new. This is across the board, both male and female. When you're young, your memory is still plastic, so it's still flexible. You can pick up a lot of new things really quickly. But as you get older, it becomes more and more difficult, unless you're actually actively training yourself to keep work on your memories so you can actually recall things longer. So this is one of the reasons why your parents, grandparents find it difficult to learn new technology, because they've already gotten to a point in their lives where their fluid intelligence has kind of gone down. So it's not as easy for them to learn new technology or new things in general as it would be for you, who is still relatively young. It's honestly a shame when I see guys wasting their time on potential girlfriends. And I say potential because that's what the dating world is. You can take a girl on a date, you can take her on a, a nice excursion, you can take her on a nice trip, but that doesn't mean that she's gonna be yours. So you're gonna waste all that time, like, cause guys, you guys can do the math. Look at how much time you spend trying to get a date with a girl. You're texting her. Who knows how many hours a day or how many hours in a week, which is time you could be using for yourself. And then let's say you do get a date. That also takes up time because you gotta set up the date, you gotta go on the date, you gotta follow up after the date, and then after all that, you may not even get her. So I don't think it's a good deal, especially if you're gonna be wasting your time like that. A lot of guys aren't gonna tell you this. A young man's most valuable asset is your time. Thing with men is we get better over time. You get better. There's no reason for a man as you get older to just decline. You gotta keep your body on point, you gotta keep your mind on point. So what are the lessons I've learned that is kind of helping me go by in terms of get a girlfriend in the first place, but also is helping me keep her and also develop myself in such a way that I'm opening more doors, not just dating wise, but in business as well. First thing I have to stress is if you're a young man, and this is especially if you're in your 20s, master a skill. Once you say you don't go to high school, you don't go to college, so you're probably free as soon as you're 18 from high school, or let's say you do go to college and this is more of a 21, 22 type of thing. Once you're out of college or out of school, of whatever school you're in, start mastering a craft. And I don't just mean what you've learned in school, no, because the stuff you learned in school, you're really gonna use it in the real world. Get into the real world, see what skills are required, and then find one that is gonna last down the line and master that. Here are a few that you can probably look into. Personally, the skill I've chosen to master, and I work literally every single day on it, I put at least an hour and a half into this. My skill is coding. Java, JavaScript, Python, HTML, React, Angular, all these things, I'm learning all of that. Why? I'm actually pretty good at it, but it's a skill that's always going to be valuable down the line. Another skill you can learn is, let's say you're more artistic and you like to draw, animation, graphic design, any of those two. Personally, I would suggest learning animation because this is the more, would I say, valuable of the two skills. Graphic design, logo creation is very good for businesses, but you really have to be really good at your job and already have a good repertoire of like your clientele. So people, when it comes to stuff like logo design, people want to know that you've done a good job for other people. So it's a little bit more difficult to start that. But when it comes to animation, it takes a lot more time up front to learn, but it's something you can always make money from anytime because you can always put those animations you do, pictures you draw, whatever it is, on YouTube or whatever platform you want, and then get paid that way. Another skill is personal finance. So one thing is, a lot of people want to know how to use their money, and you got to be able to show them that you know how money works. So I mean, this also includes investing. This includes crypto. Crypto, especially right now, is the big one. If you're a young guy and you're already into crypto, let's say you're investing in crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that stuff, start actually teaching people what you know. And by teaching people, I mean more of the elder generation. So people who are older. So, because like I told you before, your fluid intelligence decreases the older you get. So as a young man, you have a lot of that people who came before you don't have. And a lot of people will pay good money to learn that from you. Another one is social media. A lot of businesses right now that I know of are hiring young people just to promote their social media. Because why? They don't know how to promote it themselves. So they need young people who are very tech savvy and who know how these platforms work to run their social media programs. I know some people who have agencies that's simply strictly on just helping people design their social media and then improve their social media presence. Okay, let's say you don't have the time to learn all these more tech savvy skills or finance. Another option you want to do, you would want to go for, would be something more hands-on. For example, being an electrician, a plumber, or something, or a mechanic. A lot of people kind of diss these jobs, but if I'm telling you, if you get good at it, you're making bank. You're making a lot of money from these things. Because I know it's not the most lucrative sounding. I mean, it doesn't sound like you're a lawyer or a surgeon or whatever. But think about it. If you become a mechanic, you learn the skills how to fix people's cars, open up a few garages, you have enough money to employ some people for sure. And once you get set, money's just gonna be coming in. So give it a shot, like, because there are a lot of opportunities for young men that we do have to take, but in order to take that, you have to sacrifice. You just have to not focus on women. Another thing that you should start working on, in addition to your skill, is your character. One of the main reasons I'm always going to recommend working on your character is because if you want to attract a good woman, your character is what's going to attract her. A lot of people, the reason a lot of dating today is messed up as it is because a lot of people are trying to attract people through superficial means. So Instagram. People say Instagram is the best way to date today. I'm going to tell you now. If you want to date on Instagram, you're probably going to get an Insta thought. I'm just being frank. Like, I'm not saying you can't get a good girl from these platforms, but if the reason that you found her on Instagram, they said she was an Insta model, she was having those pictures because that's why you clicked on those, you should not be surprised if things don't go as well as you'd imagine. Your character. That's one of the main things you got to improve while you're still young. Why? Because once you improve your character, it enables you to attract the right people into your life, whether it's for romantically or for business. Both things, it helps both of those. If you're looking to attract the right woman, you gotta spend time looking into yourself and seeing those things you need to work on. For example, when I got to a point when I was dating, I guess you could say I was like on the dating scene, on the dating market, I got to a point when I realized that a lot of these girls that were into me or I was attracting weren't the girls I wanted to attract. And this is the kind of the biggest downfall, especially if you're somewhat conventionally attractive, or maybe you have a lot of money. A lot of girls you're going to attract aren't going to be the ones who you want to be with. And these girls, frankly, some of them will turn you off. The problem comes when you don't take the time to develop your character. What's going to happen is you can't tell these women, well, you can't tell the flawed ones from the good ones. So now you have a lot of women, majority of them are not the right one for you, and you can't really tell them apart. The reason your character is important is because you attract what you put out to a certain degree, but at the same time, you gotta understand that when you develop yourself, developing your skills, you're gonna become a more higher value man. And that's just, I'm saying more in a financial and ambitious sense. You're gonna have more options than you would before you started doing that. And in order for you to be able to start actually sorting these women that are going to be coming at you, you need to develop your character. When you develop your character, you now know the traits you're looking for, because most things that a lot of people do today that are super superficial and all that things are going to turn you off. So how can you start developing your character? First thing is you got to look for one of those things that you're weak at. A main problem a lot of guys have when it comes to dating and the whole dating market and dating scene in general is they are very controlled by what they see. So basically, if a girl is attractive in any sense of the word, they stop thinking about every other trait that she has. They're still gonna give her a shot, and they kind of miss all the red flags that she shows because she's attractive. The first skill I'm gonna tell you guys to work on is you need to look at attraction, an attractive woman, as your basis. That's your baseline. If you don't find her attractive, don't lower your standards. I know a lot of people are preaching self-love and all that stuff, which is fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to them. I'm not saying you shouldn't be friends with them, but you finding them physically attractive should be the baseline. It's kind of funny though, for the longest time, women are always saying that the requirements of men, like what women expect of men, keeps declining and declining and declining. You'll see TikToks out there of a woman saying, oh hey, he treated me nice, awesome. You know, this is one of these things to show that like a woman's expectations of men has gone way down. But women, here's the thing, a lot of men have no expectations besides you being good looking. It's crazy. Like a man's expectations for a woman, frankly, like in today's modern society, is literally at the floor. If you're attractive, that's all a man is mostly looking for. That's what most men are looking for. So guys, first thing you gotta work on is viewing attraction as that's your baseline. You gotta look for what a woman brings to your life besides just being a pretty face. One of the things I worked on that really did help me was I had a need for attention back in, I don't know how long this was, but I realized this because there are certain times where you just need some validation. and you don't really care where it comes from. And especially if you do have options of women willing to give you validation, or you just have like a good social media presence or whatever that is, you'll be tempted to go to those sources for validation. That was one of my problems I had to work on back in the day, because I realized that, okay, I really didn't need this validation from all these, these strangers. And after that, I started catching myself when I would have these feelings, because all these comes from an insecure feeling in yourself, and you need some external factors to tell you that you're good. I stopped caring. I just was trying to make this YouTube friendly. I stopped caring about what people thought. I stopped caring about what people's expectations, opinions of me were. I set up my own expectations, I set up my own opinions, I set up my own goals, and I based myself, I rate myself based on my ability to achieve these goals. So guys, the last and final thing I want to bring up that you should work on while you're training, I'm going to call this period a training period. Your 20s, man, you got to be training. Obviously, you got to be working your body. You actually have to be training yourself physically, mentally, and also emotionally. But the final thing I want to tell you to do is always observe women, well, people in general. But if you do want to find a partner down the line that would be your best match, observe women. And what I mean by observe, I don't mean just stare at them when you just see them just like creepily. No, what I mean is see what they do, learn to differentiate what a woman says and what a woman does. This actually works for anybody in general, but if you're trying to apply this to the dating scene, when you actually, because most of the time you're probably going to find somebody while you're building yourself that would probably be the best person for you. The person you find while you're chasing your grind, you're building your kingdom, you're building your empire, who actually comes to you during the building stages, this is before you're set, who you meet during the building stages is probably going to be the one for you. But let's say, like you didn't find the right one, you were just focused on your grind and you like made it out and the other end successful, awesome. But you want to know what you should be looking out for in women. You gotta take the time as you're no longer in the dating market to actually differentiate what a woman does and what she says. Because a lot of people, what they do is they only listen to what women say. So like what a woman says she wants versus what a woman actually wants. Keep looking at that. If you have female friends, or say like, buddies who have girlfriends, or buddies who know girls who you interact with quite often, watch them and like actually learn from them how women think, what they like, what they do, all that kind of stuff, because it is going to be very important once you actually start vetting women. All right guys, I didn't want to go too deep or too at length with this video. I just want to keep it short for these these down react ones. I want to keep them nice and short for you guys, just like a nice little bit. If you put enough effort and time and actually train whatever you want to learn, you're gonna be amazing, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Remember, we have a live streams on Friday, so don't forget to tune in for that. It's probably gonna be posted sometime earlier, sometime afternoon Friday, so definitely check that out. Have a good one.